Hello everyone, welcome to my video presentations. So in this video, I would like to present about ethical behavior and activity-based costing in management accounting. So I would like to present about two study case from both materials. So without any further ado, let's get jump into the presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is SIfana Sausania, and I'm from Management Department, batch 2019, University of Lampung. Study case 1, it's about budgeting, ethics, and pharmaceutical company. So, Chris Jackson was recently promoted to Controller of Research and Development, or R&D, for Briscoe, a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company that manufactures prescription drugs and nutritional supplements. The company's total R&D cost for 2013 was expected to be $5 billion. And during the company mid-year budget review, Chris realized that current R&D expenditure were already at 3.5 billion. So nearly 40% above the mid-year target. At this current rate of expenditure, the R&D division was on track to exceed its total year-end budget by $2 billion. And in a meeting with CFO Ronald Meese later that day, Jackson delivered the bad news, and Meese was both shocked and outraged that the R&D spending had gotten out of control, and Meese wasn't any more understanding when Jackson revealed that the excess cost was entirely related to research and development of a new drug, Viacant, which was expected to go to market next year. The new drug would result in large profit for Brisk corporations if the product could be approved by year-end. And Mies had already announced his expectations of third quarter earnings to Wall Street analysts. If the R&D expenditure weren't reduced by the end of the third quarter, Mies was certain that the target he had announced publicly would be missed and the company stock price would tumble. And Mies instructed Jackson to make up the budget shortfall by the end of the third quarter using whatever means necessary. And Jackson was new to the controller positions and wanted to make sure that Mies' orders were followed. And Jackson came up with the following ideas for making the third quarter budget target. So the first ideas from Jackson was stop all research and development effort on the drug Viacant until after year end, and change will delay the drug going to market by at least 6 months. And it is possible that in the meantime, the Brisk Corporation competitor could make it to market with a similar drug. And the second ideas from Jackson is to sell off a right to the drug market, Martech. And the company had not planned on doing this because under current market conditions, it will get less than fair value. It will, however, result in one-time gain that could offset the budget shortfall. And of course, all future profit from Martech will be lost. And the third one is capitalize some of the company R&D expenditure, reducing R&D expense on the income statement. And also these transactions would be in accordance with GAAP, but Jackson thought it was justifiable because of the Viacant drug was going to market early next year. And Jackson will argue that capitalizing R&D costs this year and expensing them next year will better match revenue and the expenses. And also, the first question of this case is referring to the standard of ethical behavior for practitioners of management accounting and financial management. Which of the preceding items A until C are acceptable to use and which are unacceptable? And the second question is what would you recommend Jacksons to do? So the overarching principle of the AMA statement of ethical professional practice are honesty, fairness, objectivity, and responsibility. And the statement corresponding standard for ethical conduct and require management accountants to. The first one is to perform professional duties in accordance with relevant laws, regulations, and technical standard. And the second one is refrain from engaging in any conduct that will prejudice carrying out that is ethically. And the third one is communicate information fairly and objectively. And the fourth one is disclose all relevant information that could reasonably be expected to influence an extended user's understanding of the report, analysis, and recommendations. So the idea of capitalizing some of the company's R&D expenditure is a direct violation of the IMA's ethical standard that I have mentioned. And these transactions will not be in accordance with relevant laws, regulations, and technical standard. GAAP, or Generally Accepted Accounting Principle, requires research and development costs to be expensed as incurred. And even if Jackson's believe his transactions is justifiable, it violates the provision's technical standard and would be unethical. And also the other year-end actions occur in many organizations and fall into the gray to acceptable. And also much depend on the circumstances surrounding each one, and however, such as the following. The first one is stop all research and development efforts on the drug fight until after year end. This change will delay the drug going to market by at least 6 months. It is also possible that in the meantime, a brisk corporation competitor could make it to market with a similar drug. While this solution may solve the budget shortfall in this year, it could also result in a significant loss of future profit for brisk corporations in the long run, especially if a competitor is able to obtain a patent one of similar drug before the brisk operation. And also the sales of right to the drug, Martech, the company had not planned on doing this because under current market conditions, it would get less than fair value. It would, however, result in a one-time gain that could offset the budget shortfall. And of course, all future profit from Martech will be lost. Again, the solutions may solve the company's short-term budget crisis, but could result in the loss or future profits for brisk corporation in the long run. And some recommendations for Jackson's. While it is not uncommon for companies to, to sacrifice long-term profits for a short-term gains, it may not be in the best interest of the company shareholders. In the case of these brisk corporations, the CFO is primarily concerned with maximizing the shareholders' wealth in the immediate future or the third quarter only, but not in the long term. Because this executive incentive pay and even employment may be based on his ability to meet short-term target, he may not be acting in the best interest of the shareholders in the long run. Jackson's definitely face an ethical dilemma here, and it is not unethical on Jackson's part to want to please his new boss, nor is it unethical that Jackson wants to make a good impressions on his first day on his new job. However, Jackson's must still act within the ethical standard required by his professions, and taking illegal or unethical actions by capitalizing the R&D to satisfy the demand of his new supervisor. And Ronald Meese is unacceptable here. And although not strictly unethical, I would recommend that Jackson's not agree to slow down the R&D efforts on Viken or sell off the right to Martek. Each of these appear to sacrifice the overall economic interest of Brisk Corporation for short-run gain. And Jackson should argue against doing this but not resign if um, if the Ronald Meese insists that these actions be taken. If, however, Meese asks Jackson to capitalize the R&D, he should raise this issue with the chair of the audit committee after informing the Meese that he is doing so. If the CFO still insists on Jackson's capitalizing the R&D, he should resign rather than engage in ethical behavior. And that was my recommendations for Jackson. And then we move into the second case. It is about job costing sale right company. Okay, so basically, Sailrite they produce kind of sailboats, and they also they got two kind of model from the sailboat. The second one they name it the basic model, and the first one they name it as the basic model, and the second one, they name it as the deluxe model. So the basic model, 10 years ago, Sailrite produced only the basic model, which is 12 feet long and designed for two sailor. And also, very few options were available for this model, and the production process is relatively simple. And also the deluxe models, because many owners of the basic models wanted to move to a bigger and more sophisticated boat, Sailrite developed the deluxe model 2 years ago. And also the deluxe model is 14 feet long, which is 2 feet long and from the basic model, and designed for three sailors. And also many additional features are available for this model. And the production process is more complex than the basic model. And the problems from this case is last year, Sailrite sold 3,200 of the basic model and 1,800 units of the deluxe. And although sales of both models increased last year over the year before, company profit have steadily declined. And Jack, as the CEO, is concerned about this trend and discusses his concerns with the company accountant, the marketing manager, and the production manager. So here's the conversations between Jack, the CEO of the Sailrite, and also the marketing manager. And Jack said that Ever since we introduced the deluxe model, our product have taken a beating. What happened? And the marketing manager replies that I'm not sure whether you can blame our salesperson. We have asked them to push the deluxe model, and our sales force has really responded. And sales volume has steadily increased over the last couple of years, and customers seem to love our sailboats. And then the CEO asked the production manager, and he asked, "How about the production process?" And the productions manager replied that, "I can only tell you that the productions process for the deluxe model is much more complicated than the one for the basic model. And production's cost record shows that overhead has increased significantly from 14% to the 36% of the total production cost since we started producing the deluxe boat, and yet we use only one overhead rate based on the machine hours to allocate overhead." And then the CEO asking the accountant, and she said that we certainly considered the cost in our pricing structure. Is that because of the cost informations I have isn't accurate? And the accountant replied that when we were producing only the basic model, overhead allocations wasn't an issue because all of the overhead were simply assigned to the product. Um, Now that we have to product, overhead is allocated based on the machine hours, and I think it is time we move to a more sophisticated costing system called activity-based costing. Give me time to do some research. And also, Sailride considers to revise his current costing system and collects the following data related to indirect cost activities for 2014. So in this table, as we can see, this given information about the activity from the productions. And there are the production scheduling, materials handling, machine setup, assembly, inspections, and marketing costs. And they also provide an information about the quantity from both model, from the basic model and also the deluxe model, and also the cost of the activity. And then the CEO, Jack of Sailride, has been concerned about the decline in the profit in 2014. He is curious how an ABC system or activity-based costing would affect their product costing system. And unit data related to sale rate production in 2014 follow. So in this table, they also give a unit informations from both model, from basic model and also deluxe models. So the first questions of this case is calculate the cost of a basic and a deluxe sailboat under the simple costing system. And also the second one is calculate the cost of a basic and deluxe sailboat under activity-based costing system and compare the cost of the sailboat in the requirements 1 and 2, and why do the simple and ABC system differ in the cost of basic and deluxe store. Okay, so this is my calculations using the simple costing system. The first step is to input the informations needed. So in this case, we need to input the total indirect cost, the OH allocation base or machinery hours, and the OH allocation rate, the actual quantity of the cost driver, OH allocated, volume allocated OH per unit, direct material per unit, direct labor per unit, and total cost per unit. And also the total cost in here, we could get these calculations from the total indirect cost is the sum of all indirect costs. And also the machine hours here, we get it from summarizing the total machine hours that the information that we get from the previous table. And also for the basics and the deluxe, we can calculate the OH allocated with times the rates and also the actual quantity. Okay, so the next one is solutions using the activity-based costing. And the first step is to input the data that we need for calculate the activity-based costing, and there are indirect cost pools, production scheduling, materials handling, machine setup, assembly, inspections, marketing costs, total indirect costs, allocated OH per unit, direct material per unit, and direct labor per unit, and also the informations here that I got it from the previous table, and also after that we can calculate the OH allocated by multiplying the rate and also the actual quantity of the activity-based costing. And here's is the total cost per unit for the basic model, and here is the total cost per unit from the deluxe model. I think in the previous slide, and also this is the total cost per unit for the basic model, and this is also the total cost per unit for the deluxe model. Comparisons and discussions. After calculate using the simple costing system and also calculating the activity-based costing system, and then we can get the result of the total cost per unit for every models from both basics model and also the deluxe model. And we can calculate the difference between simple costing and also the activity-based costing here, and I have already calculated, and the calculation is in here. And also from this difference between the total cost per unit for the both model from the basic model and deluxe model, it can be concluded that relative to the ABC system or activity-based costing system, the simple costing system overcosts basic sailboat and also undercosts deluxe sailboats. So as we can see here, so for the ABC system, so for the ABC system, this simple costing system is overcost basic sailboats, and also it's also undercost the deluxe sailboats. And also the economy-based costing study reveals that each deluxe sailboat requires more production run, materials move, and set up. And this is reflected in the higher indirect costs allocated to the deluxe model in the activity-based costing system. So I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on another video. Thank you.